Hello and welcome to the show. My guest today is Megan Kovanen, and she'll join us in just a moment. But first, I wanted to talk to you about Oliver Widger. Have you heard of his story yet? He's the 28-year-old man who was recently diagnosed with Klippel-Feil syndrome, which can lead to full paralysis. This diagnosis put Oliver's life in quick perspective. He'd hated his corporate job, so Oliver quit his corporate job, cashed in his 401k, and decided to follow his dream of sailing the world. Oliver had two challenges. One, he'd never sailed before, and two, he didn't have a sailboat. So he bought a sailboat with those 401k earnings and learned how to do the repairs and learned how to sail by watching YouTube videos and learning from people who'd done it before him. On May 1st, he set sail from Portland, Oregon for Hawaii and made it safely within about 3 weeks' time. He arrived to huge fanfare, and along the way, he picked up some big corporate sponsors and 1.9 million followers on Instagram. I think the reason people resonated so much with Oliver's story isn't necessarily because we will cash in our 401k and sail the world, but what is it about his story that speaks to us and the unfinished business we have and the life and the dream we hoped for ourselves? But sometimes life gets in the way and we have to make big changes and big sacrifices to make those dreams come true. The reason I'm having Megan on the show, returning after she was on the show about 3 years ago, she was here to share with us about her full recovery after being diagnosed with and having surgery for a benign brain tumor. She's back now to share that she's been diagnosed with not one, but 2 types of breast cancer. She, like Oliver, is learning how to do hard things with the support of her family, this community, and the medical team that she's assembled. We're going to talk about Oliver's story and how it applies to all of our story in just a moment. Welcome back to the show, Megan. It's been a minute.
Hello, friend. How are you?
Well, how are you? So we have shared in common our following of Oliver at his Cat Phoenix and the boat and the destination and his entire journey. So we will talk about that. His don't wait sort of story, not sort of, it is a don't wait story. And we want to talk about yours as well, because you have been on the show before. In fact, I just sent you a message this morning that I saw a memory on Facebook that you were on my show 6 years ago today.
Which blows my mind.
Yeah, it wasn't even planned that way.
We should go buy a lottery ticket.
Right? Well, and I had you on about 3 years ago or so, once you'd fully recovered from being diagnosed with your benign brain tumor and having surgery and that recovery process. And then you are back today because you've had yet another hit physically with your recent diagnosis with breast cancer. So I just wanted you to share a little bit about that, and thank you for being willing to talk about it so candidly on the show.
I am happy to, not happy to be going through it, but certainly happy to share.
Yeah.
You know, it was just one of those mornings, right? I happen to do self-checks, and I beg of anyone out there every month. Yeah. Okay. And never on the same day, just kind of like, oh yeah, and check and nothing. And this particular morning, kind of my hand ran across something that was not typically there. And, you know, of course I needed to be at work and do all the things. So I kept going. Dan had already left the house and off we went to do what we always do. And the next morning was a Saturday morning, checked it again, and by golly, it was still there, and had Danny, could you come here? And he, the look on his face, I thought, oh, brother. And he goes, why don't you just get that checked out to, peace of mind. So of course I did. And what ensued.
So from one month to the next, it wasn't there.
Not for me to physically touch or detect. Keep in mind, I had had a mammogram 6 months prior and it was not there. So went in and to our wonderful Confluence Health, and they immediately got me in and found a second. Then by the time second lump mass, if you will, by the time I got to the University of Washington and they had done the biopsy here at Confluence. By the time I got to Fred Hutch and the University of Washington, there was a third mass. And by the time they did the left mastectomy, there were 5 total cancerous masses and 2 different types of cancer.
And so to understand that, make sure I'm understanding that clearly, you felt the one when they started doing scanning, had they seen any more, or as you're testing, they're more and more developing, it's spreading that quickly?
Yeah. Yeah. So they found the 2 at Confluence Health. By the time I had gotten to UW and Fred Hutch, it was not for not finding it in my hometown at Confluence Health, but it was the development of a new one by the time I got to the University.
When you say by the time, how long was that?
3 weeks.
Yeah. So the kind of normal timeline for what it takes to get a referral and get.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, this was actually, everyone saw me, whether it was Confluence Health, University of Washington, or Fred Hutch, really in a decent amount of time. I wasn't like, I'm not going to be seen forever. It was actually quite refreshing and reassuring. Yeah.
Okay. So then tell us what happened from there. So then you're told you need surgery.
Yep. So at that point, Fred Hutch said, you will be having a mastectomy, and we're going to do the left to start. We'll take lymph nodes to see if it has metastasized and traveled, if you will. And I found out kind of in good time that it had not traveled. It had not metastasized. It was stage 2 lobular and ductal carcinomas. Because go big or go home, I thought I would do 2 and be fancy. And then kind of ran into a few barriers, had an infection, had a second surgery. But through, perseverance, an incredible team at work, so I didn't have to worry about that extra level of anything. I was able to focus on me and my family and an incredible community, and just kind of kept looking forward. And you and I have talked about this. In fact, how we met was my father's journey with cancer and what he passed away from. And he got up every day, and he made his bed every day, and he got dressed every day, and he persevered. Did it ultimately take his life? Yes. But the gift that he gave us by simply looking forward and leaning into
the example,
but also leaning into the good. Like I said before when we talked, it's always the people, the silver lining that comes with it. And I tried to make sense of this latest one, like, where's the lesson in this? Because I already stood in this line. I think there's a mistake.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things I've asked you. It's like, what, there's this knock on the door you get, and I had cancer when I was 24, and that was a really big knock on my door. And then I lost my husband not long after that. And so, within 10 years of marriage, I'd been sick, recovered, and he became sick and passed away. And so I don't think that like we bring this to, there's a lesson we're supposed to learn, whatever comes in life. And so was the knock on the door not loud enough the first time around? Was there something you feel like you were missing that maybe you're gaining this time? I mean, we don't want to have to answer that door, but where do you sit with that? I mean, it's pretty frustrating as a person who's been through those banging doors, for lack of a better analogy. Yeah. It's like enough already,
You're right. So for me, the first time I learned so much. I learned that it's always the people. I learned that I can do hard things. Yes. I learned that bad things happen to good people and we still move forward. I think I've always had a good gift of sharing empathy with people. And for whatever that means, I think it's a gift that you can give to someone, to give them space, to let them find their footing and let them know that stinks. What can I do for you?
Sure. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing I learned this time was to slow down, and that it's okay to slow down and take care of myself. And I think I am my team at work will definitely say, one of my leaders too, Angela, will definitely say that I am a tea crosser, eye daughter.
Yeah.
I like things nice and tidy, wrap it up with a bow. When really, can it be in a gift bag?
Without tissue
um,
paper, just tossed
exactly.
in
You
there.
know,
Yeah.
it's showing up, and it might look different for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. The showing up is, I mean, I lost my dad last year. I
Mm,
say last year because it feels better to me, but it's actually been over that long. It's coming on a year and a half, almost 2 years. And what I feel about that is the greatest lesson I think my parents taught me is
no,
to show up for people, for your people. And we spread ourselves thin sometimes about the idea of who those people are. And
yes.
nothing has taught me more about who my people are than loss and suffering.
Mhm.
Because my people, the list or the group gets smaller and smaller with each passing year, and that's okay with me. And that goes back to a lesson my dad taught me a long time ago when I was in school and girls would be mean and I'd try to be friends with everybody and smooth things over. And he'd say, you can't. You're going to have a handful of people, Lisa. That's it. And those are the people that matter, and those are the people you take care of. I
Yes.
do have more than a handful. I'm blessed that way. But his point is quit trying to please everybody and just know
Yeah.
that if you're good to the people who are good to you, those are your people.
Yeah.
And when you say that, I mean, you learn who your people are more and more.
Absolutely. So we should do a show on dad wisdom.
Yeah,
So my
I love
dad used to
that.
say, people either hinder or enhance your life, and be sure to nurture those who enhance.
Okay.
And that's exactly where that comes in. And I
Yeah.
think the other thing I learned was patience with this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You don't ever pray for patience. You're because then goodness, you're gonna get challenged. But yeah, it
Yeah.
is, and it's something that, going through what you're going through. It's the one thing for me, cancer was the one thing I couldn't quit. I could have quit my
Yeah.
marriage. I didn't. I could have quit. You can quit anything. You can quit a job. You can quit a marriage. You can quit parenthood. You can quit anything. You can quit. You might not feel good about yourself, but you can do it. And
Yeah.
sometimes it isn't quitting. Sometimes it's going to the ends of the earth for the marriage, the job, whatever it is that you're
Yeah.
trying to do, and then it's time to let go of it. So I
Yeah.
don't mean that people who don't stay married are quitters. What I'm saying is it's the one thing that if you don't keep going, you're going to die.
Yeah.
If you don't do the thing that you've signed up to do that's supposed to work and help save your life,
Yeah.
whatever that is, Western medicine or not, whatever it is,
Yeah.
um, it's the thing you can't quit. It's just
Darn
the thing
it.
you can't quit. And well, let's
Darn
take a
it.
break. And I know, dang it. When we come back, let's talk about Oliver and just the space. I mean, millions of people are following him for a reason,
Yes.
and the story just keeps unfolding. So let's take a break and let's come back in just a sec.
Fantastic.
Okay, we want to talk now about Oliver Widger,
Yes.
sailing
Yes.
underscore with underscore Phoenix. Phoenix is the cat. Oliver's the man who I explained at the beginning of the show, quit his job, cashed in his 401k, the whole thing. And what I think resonates with so many people right now is he's out there doing the thing that, you know, I have no desire to sail the world, but I did have a desire to travel and, become a storyteller and have that be part of my life. But to just really do the thing and people are supporting it in such a huge way, I mean, it's the story we need to be telling right now.
It has been so fun to watch it unfold. And I have to say, so during this time and being sick, so I ran across his first video when it was like, I'm sitting in my car and
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna go
didn't.
in and
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
I
quit.
didn't
And I'm like,
discover until he'd already left. So
oh,
that's cool that you knew from the beginning.
so I'm looking at this, and of course, you're scrolling, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, follow. And then it
Yeah.
keeps kind of popping. I'm like, what is happening? And then it
Yeah.
just got to be so fun to watch him. have this diagnosis that was life changing,
Mhm.
to say, you know what, I'm not living
Mhm.
the life I want to be living. So, hello 401k, hello adventure.
Goodbye 401k, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hello and goodbye. And the biggest thing was, not only am I going to sail around the world, but I don't know how. So
Yeah.
I'm going to
I'm gonna
teach
watch
myself.
YouTube videos,
God bless YouTube.
and I'm gonna
And
do it in the river, not the ocean,
you know,
because
and then
that's where I live.
Portland,
Yeah. Yeah.
Portland to Hawaii
Right.
in a
Safe and
sailboat
sound. And
solo.
I can't show the clips because we don't have permission yet.
Yeah.
I will interview Oliver someday.
Yes.
I know it to be true, but we don't have permission to show all the things. But you, the viewer,
Yeah.
can Google his name or look for him in AI or follow him on social media and just go to the ones that are pinned at the top, and that tells you what you want to know, and then just keep going from there. And he's still posting.
Yeah.
He's got the funding now from the Copilot Microsoft app. They broke the record,
Yeah.
and they said that if he got 10,000 downloads, that they would pay him. He didn't say how much money. He doesn't need to tell us that, but he's got enough for his Polynesia trip and to repair his boat. And then he wrote this beautiful poem about him not giving up his boat that he has. Everyone's like, cash it in, get a better boat. He's like, this is the boat that this is the boat, you know. And so he's really grounded in that way, completely awkward on social media. I just saw his story yesterday. He goes, yep, still awkward. He doesn't really look at the camera. And for someone who has spent some time trying to study Instagram and how you grow and what it takes, it's always this like really quick videos and edit them so there's no pause, and and it's just true. It just proves that, yeah, I mean, I guess for some industries you got to be like that, but he pauses. He has nothing to say sometimes. Like, he just gets on there to say hello, doesn't look at the camera, and that's just what we love about him.
Well, it's real,
It's real.
right? It's not
Mhm.
canned. It's not quote unquote perfect. He is showing up, like we talked about
Yeah.
before. He is showing up in his authentic self, and people, to include myself, are eating it up.
Yeah, it
And
is.
we're rooting for
Yeah,
him. It
yeah,
is
and he's
so
got his
cool to
own
root.
ticket now. He's got his
Yeah.
own ticket.
Yeah.
He's written a ticket. He never has to do a job he doesn't want to do ever again
Yeah.
because he did this so well. And I didn't discover him until about a week, about 4 days from when he left Portland. I mean, what was it? Portland. He left
Portland.
Portland to go
Yeah.
to Hawaii. So he was in Oregon. He's a local. I don't know when he'll be back, but he's a local. And yeah, so I just think that the lessons that we learn from stories like his, I've traveled the country. I've interviewed, I don't even know, over 1,000 people at this point over the years, more than 1,000, because I think I said that 4 years ago. And I've never found a story like his because of the global, just the way that the world is responding to him is part of his story. And
Hmm.
I just think anyone who thinks hard things are impossible, follow Oliver, learn from Megan, how we get from one foot in front of the other, get from one place to the next.
Yeah. Oliver, I think, inspired all of us.
Mhm.
Some of us are voluntold what we have to go through. And he consciously said, I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna do this. I don't know what I'm doing, but by golly, I'm gonna give it my best. And found himself at a welcome event in on Waikiki, and much to his chagrin, took a global, took over the internet. I mean, it was
Mhm.
just incredible to watch, and everyone was rooting for him. And when I woke up one morning, looked online, and Anderson Cooper was interviewing, I
Yeah,
thought, wow, this
I
is
saw
a
that too, and
story.
I was like, dang it, it's going to take me even longer to get him now.
No.
Uh, I understand how that works, and that's my strategy sometimes. There's different people I see, and when I see the headline, I go, okay. I mean, I've been pretty fortunate. I've interviewed some people that, like, I remember back in the day on the radio, I interviewed Matthew McConaughey, and he was on like my show, Oprah, and David Letterman. I'm like, how does this happen? Which is fantastic. But
Yeah.
what I note is my strategy is I wait things to kind of settle down, and then, people will go on with their lives a little bit while he's repairing the boat. He's going to keep his following because he's going to keep showing the progress of the repairs and do all the things. But I'll get in there somehow. and have him on the show and have a conversation and be thrilled about it. But really just understanding that like the reason everybody wants to talk to him and share his story in the media is because it's inspiring. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons I wanted to talk about him with you, because you've been through this diagnosis and this life-changing
Mhm.
event, and you and your family, your boys and your husband, have been through something before that's hard. When you had your brain tumor and you didn't know at first, you knew pretty quickly that it was benign, but it still
Yeah.
had to be surgically removed,
Yeah.
and you still had to recover from brain surgery. And
Yeah.
so real quickly, and I just want to ask, just giving props to your family and their
Yeah.
support, what about this time had prepared you for this time? What about the last time had you prepared you for this time?
We sat down with the boys and told them the diagnosis. Interestingly enough, I had gotten sick. I was supposed to take a group of boys to a baseball showcase at WSU, go Cougs, and tap teamed with my husband. He left with this car full of baseball kids, and I just kept getting sicker and didn't know why or what was happening, and ended up in the hospital at Confluence. They took incredible care of me, ran 3 million tests, and on the 3 millionth test, discovered a brain tumor. And I kept that information to myself all night until the next morning, when I had to call my friend first before my husband and ask her to go and relieve Danny, to leave Wenatchee and go to Pullman. And then when she got there, I shared the information with Dan, and he left the boys there. No one was the wiser, just the three of us knew. Informed my mom at that point, and the rest kind of began to unfold. We sat down with the boys when they all got home on Sunday night, and explained, just as I said before, this is survivable. It is going to be a lot of hard work. Those exact words were told to me by an incredible physician at Confluence, that you will survive this, but you've got a lot of hard work ahead of you. I can do hard things. I don't
Yeah.
want to, but I can
And
do
yeah.
them.
And
And
that's where you are now. It's like you've come through all of this and it's
yeah,
to this hard spot again, but you are a team that's rallying,
yeah,
the four of you, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm so
yeah,
grateful for you
I
to
am
share
too.
this with us.
Thank you, friend. Me
And
too.
yeah, and to get to just chat with Oliver about Oliver with someone who just absolutely gets it. Absolutely
It's
gets it.
been an honor.
I know you all are keeping your 401k and everything, but you
I
do
am.
get the sense of the don't wait involved, and
Yeah,
the urgency, and urgency is not the word, but the purpose for which we live our lives. So
absolutely. And that means something different for everybody,
yeah,
right?
everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I wish you so
Oh,
much wellness and happiness.
okay. I look forward to seeing you on the golf course, my
Oh
friend.
yes, let's do that too.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Bye bye.